At Arizona State University, we're bringing world-class education from our globally acclaimed faculty to you. Ranked #1 in innovation for 10 consecutive years and #2 among public universities for employability, ASU isn't just ahead of the curve, it's creating new paths to success. Earn your degree from the nation's most innovative university. Online, that's a degree better. Explore more than 300 undergraduate, graduate, and certificate programs at asuonline.asu.edu.
Ever get the feeling you're being watched online? It's data brokers. They collect your personal info, your browsing habits, where you live, and who you're related to, and then sell it to the highest bidder. Aura helps stop that. Aura automatically removes your personal info from data broker sites and keeps it off. It also monitors the dark web, protects your devices, alerts you to real-time threats, and more. Start your free trial at aura.com/listen. That's AURA.com/listen for your free trial.
Ever get the feeling you're being watched online? It's data brokers. They collect your personal info, your browsing habits, where you live, and who you're related to, and then sell it to the highest bidder. Aura helps stop that. Aura automatically removes your personal info from data broker sites and keeps it off. It also monitors the dark web, protects your devices, alerts you to real-time threats, and more. Start your free trial at aura.com/listen. That's AURA.com/listen for your free trial.
Stop right there. Yeah, you. If you like all things entertainment, current events, or Hollywood, then look no further. Creator to Creators, hosted by director Meosha of Horror Noir, interviews filmmakers and creatives from around the world. Join in on the fun, guest celebrities, and informative information to have as a creator. Hit subscribe and stay connected to Creator to Creators.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Creators to Creators Today. Today, we have a special guest.
Apollo Liberace checking in. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you for being here. So I just love to go, straight to your name, like Apollo. I mean, it's just like it has a great ring to it. Where did that come from?
Basically it's from everybody I've known has called me Apollo for 15 years, like a nickname, and then the Liberace part comes from the showman from Vegas. He did he was a great showman in his like crazy flamboyant style. He had a crazy style that was really cool. And of course the Apollo part comes from the Greek god of music.
Yeah.
Which is Apollo, the Greek god.
The god.
Where it comes into play. Just like Apollo, the Greek god, and the Liberace part is just from the Vegas showman.
I love that. That's a great. And I think words have power, honestly. So
100%.
It's a great thing to call yourself.
Thank you so much.
Especially music wise. So let's go to the beginning. Growing up, what was that like, your childhood, and kind of how did you find your way into the whole music world?
I basically started in the church singing in the choir. Well, a lot of people get their start in the church. And from that, my sister actually started singing first. She was like a spiritual singer, like make songs for Christianity and like just the word of God and things like that. And I seen her. She traveled all over the world performing and doing that, so that really inspired me. So when I was like 10, I believe I wrote and recorded my first song. And yeah, after that, I've just been all over doing all kind of things. I've been off Broadway when I was a kid, performing in theater. And then after that, just my mom was in the military, so we moved all over. So I ended up, when I was around 15, ended up stationed in South Korea, and I ended up working out there and meeting people and doing music. Ended up signing this deal with this label that was with Def Jam South Korea out there. So I was 15 doing like big shows out there, which was a crazy experience, of course. And then, came back here. I was in a group that I formed when I got back around 16, 17, and then was with them for a long time. And we ended up signing at Capitol Records. And then, things happen, and now I'm just still doing my thing and gotta keep moving.
Now, when you say, I mean, oh my gosh, like you have like a huge list of things that you've done at a young age.
Yeah,
That's
I know. I didn't even.
absolutely
I
incredible.
could have kept going, but I don't
That's
want to. I could have kept
incredible.
going, but I don't want to talk too much.
No, no, please. It's totally fine. No, that's incredible. Like to have that kind of a resume and that kind of drive. You must loved it. I mean, obviously you had
Of
to
course,
love
yeah.
something to go that hard. What do you think that love for music stems from? Do you think it like at least for me when I knew that I wanted to be a filmmaker when I was a kid, but I think what's really solidified me was when I watched, Alfred Hitchcock series one summer when I was 16. Like I was like, I want to be a filmmaker. I want to do what
Yeah,
he's doing. So that's what
fire.
kind of planted that seed almost
Yeah,
for me.
yeah, exactly. I mean, I feel the same way. Just different influences as far as Kanye and other things, but it's mostly more just like a undying urge to do something, or just like something you feel like you couldn't live without, or you just have to do every day, whether
Mm,
it's expressing yourself or just getting through the day in general. So I just feel like every day something that stays on your mind, or like that lives with you. You go to sleep thinking about it. You're in the shower thinking about it. You you go through your whole day thinking about it. I feel like that's where my real passion comes from. It's something I actually don't think I would be able to live without. So
mm. I love that. Yeah, it's like your calling, like your purpose. That's how you know when something is meant for you. Like you cannot live without it. Like it's just who you are.
I
And
agree.
if you
I agree.
stop, you're it's like death, you
Yeah,
know?
for sure. Yeah, for sure.
Um, I'm curious. You said you signed to Capitol Records. So no, I'm curious. Like when you hear that name, to most people, that's a huge
Yeah,
name. It's a
yeah,
big,
for sure.
you know. Does now is there a difference between the bigger like having that push Capitol Records versus like the independent route?
Of course. I mean, the main thing is like where I was in life at that time. You have struggles, and you go through a lot of things. I was living in LA. I had been out here in LA for probably 4 years already at this time, just working and doing a bunch of things, and like sleeping in cars and doing whatever you have to do to just keep going and keep moving towards the goal you have, or just keep working in general, and just wanting to work with better people that do a better job at production, or engineering, or these little things, just to be better at your craft, pretty much. And then you work, and then you get here. So it's a big difference. I mean, one big difference is having money and getting that in advance, or whatever the case may be. And it's a bunch of differences, but for the most part, it's really, the way I explain it is I don't think music is really, as far as the industry in these labels, is where it used to be. It's like it kind of feels like being in a building. Really, that's where I really wanted to sign. I had other offers, and we had other offers from other labels um, earlier, just different labels that were offering us different things, but the deals weren't as good as we wanted them to be. And I feel like Capital came with the correct deal, and it was a great deal. It just didn't really work out. You get inside these buildings, these big labels, and it's not really what you think. You get these marketing teams and these different teams and all these people that do different things, but it's like it just feels like people that are clocking in, working a regular 9 to 5, because that's honestly what they're doing. You got to think like it's people clocking in, working regular jobs, like clocking in to work at Starbucks. They're just there.
Yeah.
Feels like they're there, their paycheck, and keep moving. It's not really it. I'm not gonna speak for everybody there, because it is a lot of people that I met inside the building that do love what they're doing, and they take it serious, and they have passion for music. But a lot of it is just like people working a job inside a building.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like get this grandiose idea about labels, but it's just people clocking in, working jobs. That's it. And the thing about labels is like it just depends on how long you're there, because this business is, when you get inside these buildings, even for any type of thing, I've been working with Paramount and some other places, which is a great company. But once you get inside these entertainment buildings and these businesses, the people shift like clockwork, like from
Mm.
the president down to the guy at the front desk when you walk in the building. It's just like new president, new executives, new, like, it's just jumping from label to label. That's really musical chairs. Is really what the inside of those buildings look like.
Oh, I bet. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I know. I know. Yeah. Uh those rooms are interesting. Those rooms are interesting. I
For
remember
sure.
did you felt like when you were in the room, when you walked in the room, did you felt like, okay, like I made like we did this, because it's so a lot of people want to know how to
100%.
get in those
Yeah,
rooms.
yeah. No, 100%. That's, I mean, of course, that's how it feels, especially for a little while. You walk into a building, it's like 15 people there,
Yep.
weekly, there just to discuss you and come up with these ideas, and they're basically working for you there. So of course it feels like that. And just having enough money to live and live decent for a good period of time. So yeah, of course, it was definitely that moment, and
Oh
sure.
yeah. Yeah. I love those
Even
moments.
besides all of that, it was also really a turning point for me too, because it did like do a lot for me,
It's good.
even outside of the building. So different connections and other things I made from that time, and all type of things. Yeah, it's still playing a part in my life to this day. So
Yeah, I'm
it's
sure.
definitely a good time in my life.
That's great. So let's get to your single. If I said I had the answers. Now, tell me what inspired that and like what that process was like and like why was that your single? Why did you make that your single?
Just because right now it just felt like something I wanted to release. That's the difference between being in a label. We talk about the differences. The biggest one is um, putting out a single. It takes months and months. You have this idea. You make this song. You sit down with the marketing team, and it may take 3 to 6 months for you to put this song out. And as artists, I feel like we're so fast paced. By the time you actually go through all the steps and like all the things that these channels that these labels have set up, you kind of lose some of the passion you have for the song.
Yeah.
You put it out, so that's an advantage I have now. So I'm gonna take full advantage of that while I can, because you miss those things when being signed to a label, just being able to move out of whim. So basically, I was just in an Uber, and I knew I wanted to release a song on my birthday on the 27th, which is the day I released the song in the video. So I was
Nice.
like 2 days before I shot the video, I'm like, think I want to release something on my birthday. So I just went through my songs. I've recorded probably 65 songs since the beginning of this
Jeez.
year. So I'm going through all the songs, and this song popped up, and I was like, this will work right now, because it was before Valentine's Day. I think I shot it on the 12th. I shot it on the 12th, and I'm like, cool, this will work. So came out
Yeah.
video for shot the video 2 days later, and then after that, it was like, cool, I'll release this in a week, and
Wow.
that's what's happening. Just this year, I'm just gonna be focused on um making good art and releasing it, as
Yeah.
soon as as soon as I can.
Like when you feel it, you
People
just do
that
you just
listen to
make
me
it.
think. Exactly. What were you saying? I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
Oh, I was saying like just when you feel it, you just make it, like I feel like
Yeah,
that is
100%.
yeah. I mean, I think there's
Yeah, and
something about that, right? Like just going
yeah,
for whatever that feeling
100%.
is. Yeah.
Yeah, and putting out art is like, as I create it, or not too long after I created it, something I've really never done, but it's something I'm focused on doing this year, because I feel like as artists, that's how your art should be received. Is you feel something, and whether it's painting it or whatever else. I think in today's age we put too much into
Yeah.
planning things, and taking too long to plan things, which is, I mean, plans are always great. And I think you should have plans, but I don't think you should sit on things for too long either.
Mm. I love that R&B. I love that you're doing R&B, and I think R&B is such a I don't know if it's like underrated. It's not really taken. I mean, it's a beautiful genre, but you don't
Yes,
really
yeah.
see. I think I was watching something of Chris Brown talking on some interview, and he said, yeah, I only have one Grammy, and I'm just thinking, what? You know, in my head, like that doesn't
Crazy.
compute. You know, it's like holy crap.
Exactly.
Do you feel like it's the industry as a whole is trying to, I don't know, diversify itself, like where the genres, you know, like it's the same thing in film. Like horror is not really considered like a genre you take seriously. So when Jordan
Yeah.
Peele got an Oscar for Get Out, right, which is a horror based film,
Yeah.
everyone was like, "Whoa, he's kind of made put a crack in that, like that
Yeah.
Matrix or whatever."
100%.
Do you feel like that's the same way for music, like the
Yeah.
R&B and yeah.
Even aside from that, it's just like music and the industry. Once you get inside the industry and you really work with a lot of people and you really know these people and you're around them a lot of times, you realize how, there's not much depth to any of this. It's just like it's a lot of, pay to play most of the time. It's a lot of even a lot of these awards, people I don't want to say all of that, but a lot of awards are bought a certain way, and a lot of these things are paid for, and a lot of yeah. I mean, it's just it's just how the industry goes, and it's a funny thing. So only thing I can say is just do what you love. That's about it. Because if you're doing it for any other reason, this ain't the place to do it at.
I totally know. I know what you mean. I know the feeling. And I mean, you're right. It's like when you do start to see, you know, when you're really in on the inside, you start to see certain things and how things are like work and, you know, and and then you hear the narrative, you know, the I guess the propaganda, whatever,
Yeah,
like in the
100%.
media, like, oh, this is what we're fighting for, but then what you're working like in your circle, you're just thinking like, but this is not what's. I'm so confused, like, you know what I mean? It's like contradicting. Um, yeah, you know, I think that's why for me, I think independent is the best route personally,
Hmm.
just
For
because you
sure.
have more control over your assets. And, you know, I
Exactly.
mean, there's so many people in the music industry you hear about. I think it was I mean it was so many like you know Michael Jackson was get you know you hear people get you know having their catalogs having their making sure that they own these rights because the big labels can own them and then it's that saying that Jay-Z said, you know, getting rich and dying broke. He doesn't want to do that because it's like that
All right.
that ownership is everything. So do you feel like
100%.
it's still that way even though we're kind of moving into a better direction?
I mean, I think independent is a wonderful thing if you can maintain it. I just feel that's the big thing. It's like I don't feel like there's one right way, but I feel like there's trade-offs with everything you do. Yeah, I mean, being independent is great, but I mean, depending on how much money you have to fund what you do, and or investors in your team, or like, because that's the thing. You need a full team of people that know how to play their part and do their part well, or you'll never win anything. I feel like that's a big part of the problem with being independent, or not problem, but obstacle. You have to have a correct team, just not people that say they do what they do, or gatekeepers, or all of these other people. It's a trade-off. I feel like both ways can work and both ways have their advantages, but it's a lot to both of them. To be honest, it's like yeah, it's just uh I would not being with a major or being independent, or you could be independent and deal with these big companies yourself, or which is
Exactly.
in itself, like just looking at a contract, people don't understand. Like being independent is fine, but but even trying to get a contract read properly or redlined properly, it'll cost you like $10,000 for somebody that know what they're doing properly, and people
Right.
don't have these resources. That's why they're like, why did they sign these contracts, bro? Because they were hungry,
Yeah.
and they wanted to work, and like they didn't have this money to go hire a good entertainment attorney or a good entertainment lawyer. I mean, you could read contracts, but it's things in these contracts that are put there on purpose for the average eye it can't see. Like so. Yeah, it's just different advantages and I would say different disadvantages, and I've seen both. But independent is just you better have a lot of money to bankroll what you're doing, or somebody or a good team or like a good team of people
Mm,
for sure. So
absolutely.
advantages and disadvantages will be my
Yeah.
answer. There's no wrong. There's no wrong. I just don't feel like there's no wrong way or there's no right way to do anything. I feel
I
like
agree. I agree.
people get caught up in looking at other people's stories a lot, and
Yeah.
there's no one way to do anything. And if you are basing your story or your journey off of somebody else's, you are trying to walk the steps somebody else has, you're already looking at it wrong, in my opinion. Of course, you take inspiration from other people that you look up to or admire, but hearing a story of somebody doing something and then just trying to implicate that quickly, I feel like that's what a lot of people in today's time do. But I don't feel like that's necessarily the right way to go about things. It's your life and your journey, is your experience, and like a lot of that just comes with me. I call them learning curves. Like
Yeah.
I've been in this industry well, I signed my first deal with a major when I was 15 years old. So you see a lot of things, and each step is just learning more. You get in these meetings, you learn. You just keep learning is what all I could tell people. Like, especially if you want to be independent, I feel like that's a great journey, but you got to take your time. You got to learn, and even if you sign a shitty deal, that's not the end of your life. That's what I would call a learning curve, also. And I feel like that's the trade off of not having knowledge.
Absolutely.
It's never over. Just keep working, keep learning, and it's
Absolutely. Learning curve for sure. I've definitely signed, bad deals growing up. I was doing the acting and modeling thing. And then I just was like, I don't want to do modeling like that because it's
yeah,
a it's a
sure.
it's a different beast. It's a different beast because of the crap you got to deal with. Um, but I'd rather
100%.
be on the behind the camera because I have more like control and less, and I work with a lot of men. I think there is a lot of work to be done still in the industry, but for the most part, I think what I try to do when I'm on set or on my sets, I try to keep it very like I want to keep it very professional because the whole Me Too movement and we got to be professional.
100%.
It's a lot of things that you can get canceled over
Oh, of
today.
course. I mean,
Um,
women have it harder than anybody. Women have it harder than anybody in this industry. I mean, music,
oh man.
entertainment in general. I have a lot of friends in this industry, and I know what things they have to go through. So
Right. It's crazy.
it's getting better, but yeah, for sure, it's not easy being a woman in this industry.
Yeah. I was gonna ask you, so you said you're working on an EP that's gonna be kind of like indie folk kind of folk feel? Like so
Yeah,
what that's really
it's
interesting. What kind of prompt that? And
right.
and yeah, I'm interested to hear
So
more of
like
that.
this song is kind of a leeway into my more different music. I have a single releasing soon with my bro Tyler Yahweh. He's signed to Dre London and Post Malone,
Nice.
and Epic Records. We're releasing that probably. I was actually reading marketing plans and some other things about that earlier today. We'll probably be releasing that late spring. That's probably next. It's just yeah, this next music is just really acoustic guitar driven. Just I think it's
Nice.
different. I don't think people that look like me are making music like this. So I'm excited to put this out. Just kind of want to, I rap also. I make all kind of music, but this year I just want to release stuff that I like mostly because I've never really done that. I don't think I think I sometimes I get caught up in trying to release things that I think other people will like more than things I personally like the most. So
Yeah,
that's
and
what I'm
that's
gonna do this
real. That's real. I like
year.
that you are doing things that you like.
Yeah, exactly. Because I think we get caught up a lot in thinking of the outcome of things, and you want things to be successful, and all these other factors play. But this year it's just like just releasing stuff I like the most.
I like that. I like that. So I love asking this question to every guest, and there's no wrong answer, but the three levels of influence, money, power, and respect. If you could choose just one of those things, which one would you choose and why?
Money, power, and respect. Mm, that's such a I don't know. It's a hard question to answer, really, because I don't know. I mean,
If you
depends.
just, you know, if it was
I'll just
just
take
there.
money. I'll probably just take money at this phase of my
I
life.
like that.
I
That's
don't
a good
need,
answer.
what do I need people's respect for and power? And when it comes to human beings, there's been no human being that's had power and done the right thing or the proper thing. I feel like when we get power as human beings, we
You
turn a
think we
different
destroy ourselves?
100%. I mean, history will show you that over and over. Any person that's had any kind of power, it gets to them over and over,
Hmm.
depending on what that type of power is. But yeah, I mean, I feel like money gets you respect and power anyway. But I'd rather have money and duck off somewhere and not be worried about anybody's respect or having powers. They don't have to see me at all. I'll be gone.
That's a great answer. It's a great answer. I love it. Um, so what keeps you going, in the tough times? I know this business is very up and down. And like you said yourself, you've been in this business for a long
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
And, sometimes, even if you've been in the business, you made the connections, you know the people, and you know how this thing goes. Sometimes, life happens. What, continues to keep you striving to continue to do what you love to do in spite of
Just good,
all?
probably just good advice and being around people that has been in the industry. Like my dad was in the industry before me, and he kind of stopped to raise me basically, me and my sisters. So yeah, it's I was taught just sorry, I was taught to just stay kind of even keel, don't get too excited, don't get too down or too up. You celebrate wins and you cherish them, but try to live in the moment. But besides that moment, you live in that moment and you really appreciate the work you've done briefly, and then you get back to work. It's not really no accomplishment I've ever made so far has been like, oh wow, I've done it, I've made it. Because I think if you think like that, that you got to just keep going. I don't think great people think like that. I think you just
No.
get this brief moment of success, and even when you have this mindset, it's hard to even enjoy those times. So you got to remind yourself, like, it's cool, like take this moment in, enjoy it, and the lows are coming anyway. So
Yeah.
you just gotta kind of stay like this instead of going like this or this. That's what I was taught. Just kind of stay even keel, and no matter what the situation is, just know you control the outcome of any situation. So keep your head down, keep working, and it'll always come back around.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love that. I remember when I first got my, like, I guess my first professional gig, I didn't really realize it because I didn't know who, I wasn't really well versed in who the person was until after working with him for a long time. And I was like, oh, okay, he's a big deal. Um, because boxing was never my world, but that was one of my first gigs. And Roy Jones Jr., he's
Oh,
a
fire!
very nice man. And I think what I like a lot, and what I learned a lot from him was that, yes, he's this grand person, but he lives a simple life, and the how his perspective on life and how he looks at life was just, I was like, wow, I like that, where yes, he's very wealthy and everyone knows him, and I
Yeah,
worked for him for 2 years, and I got to really learn how, just a lot about life, at a young age.
for sure.
And
Yeah,
I was like, wow, okay, so it's not about like you said, it's not even about, like, it's not being that those highs and lows. Yeah, you're gonna have them, but we're still just humans. We're just having a human experience,
exactly.
whether
Yeah,
you're on the mountaintop or Mount Rushmore or in the valley. Like,
100%. Yeah,
yeah. So you're right. Absolutely. I love that. I love that.
yeah. I love Roy Jones, one of the greatest boxers ever.
Oh yeah, definitely. Um, So we have a lot of people like to write in and ask, they love this part of the interview when the artist or the person that's being interviewed is telling them advice of how to do something. What advice would you give to an up and coming artist or someone who wants to get into this business of music?
Just stay true to yourself. Don't try to change yourself to be what you think the industry wants to see. Because just be yourself. Because people like authenticity, and I feel like that's what lacks in today's time. Just I think people are trying to do these gimmicks and be too different, and they all look the same at that point because they're all doing the same thing. So just be true to yourself. Keep doing what you do, and if you have something you want in life and you have a goal, just don't stop working until you get it.
That's
That's
right.
all I got for real. Just keep going. When things get hard, just what I used to do is my worst days, I would be like, I would just say in my head, cool, this is like a low, like a new low, or like somewhere close to a new low. You're like, cool.
Right.
I'll tell myself this is what I needed. Tomorrow is going to be um, a great day since I had a
Yeah.
terrible day today. Every time I would say tomorrow will be a great day, and then like it was like I would have my worst days in LA, like, and I would be like, okay, cool. I'm glad I'm having this day because tomorrow is going to be a great day, And every time it would be like I would be ended up in these crazy places the next day almost every single time. So it's just mindset and keeping yourself going.
Absolutely. I love that. Where can people find you on social media to follow you and everything you have going on?
Everywhere. Just Apollo Apollo Liberace Liberace. Look for me everywhere. I got all kind of music releasing. Just released a single. If I had the answers, would you listen? I got my homegirl. I'm on a TV show that's coming out this summer on MTV and Paramount Plus. I'm on almost every episode. My good friend. It's another thing about relationships out here. You just gotta be a good person, pretty much, like because there's so many shitty people in this business. Just remember to be a decent person.
Yes, absolutely.
But anyways, my good friend Chanel West Coast, she has her own show on MTV coming out this summer, and I'm on almost every episode with her. Shout out to Chanel, that's my sister. That's coming out this summer. Be on the lookout.
Awesome.
Still a working title, but be on the lookout for that. It'll be on MTV and Paramount Plus and music all year. So Apollo
Awesome.
Liberace everywhere. Stay tuned.
All right. I love it. Thank you so much for your time. It was a good,
Yeah, thank you.
yeah, it was great talking to
Great
you.
combo for sure.
Yeah. And thank you all for listening. And always remember to live, love, laugh. We'll see you guys next time.
Love, laugh, love that. All right. Thank you.